Solo Leveling's successor, after its debut, anime's newest manhwa series is looking really rough, as Solo Leveling concludes one of the best anime adaptations from a manhwa. Its biggest rival back in its heyday is now seeing its rise to fame, but unfortunately, its first episode may burn its reputation down before it even gets a chance to succeed. The Beginning After the End received confirmation that it would be adapted into an anime late last year, and while fans were initially hyped, that enthusiasm soon dwindled upon the realization that the studio adapting it didn't have the same connection Solo Leveling was lucky to get. It should be said that a studio shouldn't be judged before the product is delivered to the consumer, because there are always new surprises that await around the corner, whether there is a strong backer or volunteers ready and willing to hop onto the project. Unfortunately, The Beginning After the End didn't receive a Hail Mary, and that much was revealed upon its first inside look at the first episode back in March, which did less to assuage fans' initial fears. Solo Leveling and The Beginning After the End have been competing way longer than their anime have been around, with the later manhwa, TBAT, even soaring past Solo Leveling in popularity, especially in the West. The manhwa has thrived in the US because it caters to that whimsical fantasy that's seen in The Lord of the Rings, while still keeping to its Korean roots of an intricate power system and zero-to-hero narrative without any extra gimmicky cheats. It's surprising to see that the reception to their anime announcements couldn't have been any more different. But that could have to do with the fact that they both received offers from two extremely contrasting studios. Solo Leveling has A1 Pictures to back them, known for its exceptional work on Fairy Tail, Your Lie in April, Magi, The Labyrinth of Magic, and many more. Meanwhile, TB8 received an offer from Studio A-Cat, who has produced similar isekai genres, and the real gap in studio quality is revealed in the very first episode. The Beginning After the End's first look at the anime back in March was received with mixed reactions from the fan base, with some expressing major disappointment at the first 40 seconds, and others erring on the side of caution with hope that the anime's opening is just warming up. The anime's first episode was released exclusively on March 29, 12:00 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for YouTube, and then on April 2 for Crunchyroll to a wider audience, revealing that fans had every right to be concerned. When not in motion, the anime appears to be fine on its own with competent artwork and a faithful adaptation to its original source. But The Beginning After the End can hardly be called an animation when a majority of its first episode is primarily made of static images that the camera pans over. The fight scene with King Gray is perhaps the most animation fans get to witness because afterward, as it delivered back in early March, the rest of the episode is primarily still shots of author's first formative years in his new life. Much of the motion comes from the CGI post-production edits where the magic is overlaid on the characters, and there aren't enough frames to create a fluid motion on the slim chance the cast is moving. And while there have been sneak previews of Sylvie, who looks to be rendered beautifully, CGI cannot save this anime if there is no actual movement being portrayed. TBAT had a lot of expectations riding on this first look at what the anime would bring, and while there isn't much excitement in Arthur's first lay of his journey as a child, it's also an area the studio could have taken creative liberties with in making it more interesting. Mushoku Tensei, which had a very familiar beginning, did more with its animation and movement than The Beginning After the End, so there's room for argument about the direction that could have been carried through to the manhwa's adaptation. The Beginning After the End has only started, so it's entirely possible that A-Cat is withholding resources to allocate them to better scenarios seen later, such as the bandit scene on the cliffside, Sylvie's introduction, or quite possibly the traders in the forest. It turns into a question of why would they, when the success of an anime is on the line. While TBAT could get better in later installments, most fans are relegated to the fact that it is almost better to reread the manhwa itself. Not only does it have a better cohesive art style that is fully rendered and only gets better over time through its added seasons, but it also delivers on subtle animations and occasional music drops to add to the whimsy of a webcomic. The beginning after the end may not have started strong as an anime, but the original source material created by Turtleem is worth checking out and may even provide a better experience.